Echoes of Us, written by Azalea Moon.
The black SUV cruises down the highway, the New York skyline shrinking behind us as we cross into New Jersey. The car is quiet. Not tense, not awkward, just quiet. I stare out the window, watching the lights blur past like streaks of thought I can't quite catch. A million things spin through my head, questions, memories, words I've rehearsed and swallowed 1,000 times. Mary doesn't seem to mind the silence. She drives with calm precision, hands steady on the wheel, eyes fixed ahead like the roads never surprised her once. We're halfway there before I finally break and ask, "So, Mari, how much do you know about me?" Her hands don't flinch. She doesn't jerk the wheel or shift in her seat, but her eyes flicker, just a flash, a beat of quiet.
I know enough.
Which means?
It means I know who you are, where you work, your connection to Sebastian, and that my boss has been haunted by your memory for the last 20 years.
My stomach knots, a slow, tight twist. Mari glances at me. I allow the silence to return. But this time it feels different. Not empty, not loaded, just space. I turn back to the window. The road signs flash by, familiar and strange all at once. I still don't know if I'm ready for this, but I'm going anyway. And that has to mean something. The highway stretches long and dark ahead of us. The dashboard casts a soft glow across my lap, and the SUV hums quietly through the night. But I'm not really here. My fingers curl in my lap, tension rising like smoke in my chest. Because no matter how hard I've tried to lock it away, forget it, bury it beneath 20 years of silence, the memory comes back anyway. The summer of 2000, a hot summer night, the air thick with heat, the scent of charcoal and sizzling meat wrapping around everything. Laughter drifts through the yard, blending with the rhythm of music and the clink of beer bottles. The backyard is alive, crowded with family, friends, musicians, people who came to pay their respects to my father. Jorge Morales, my dad, larger than life, in his element, hosting with the same effortless command that made him a legend in the Latin music world. But that night was different. He'd invited Victor Narvaez, brought him into our home, into our world, hoping to show him that music wasn't just contracts and royalties. It was people, stories, soul. He had no idea what he was about to set in motion. Because Victor hadn't come alone. He brought his younger brother. I can still see it, still feel the moment everything shifted beneath me. I'm standing near the grill, the smoke curling upward, my mother beside me laughing as she fans it away with a paper plate. I turn my head, expecting to find someone I know in the crowd. Instead, I see him, leaning against the fence like he's always belonged there. A soda in one hand, sleeves rolled to his elbows, tan forearms marked with faint tattoos. His hair is a little too long, a little too messy, like he's just run his fingers through it. And his face, all sharp angles and quiet curiosity, is pointed straight at me. Our eyes lock, and everything else falls away. The music, the laughter, the crackle of meat on the grill, gone. Just him. Just me. For the first time in my life, I feel it, that thing you read about but never really believe, being seen, completely, entirely, like every mask I've ever worn slips away in an instant. It's not just how he looks at me, it's the pull, that deep, impossible to ignore gravity dragging me toward something I don't even understand yet. And when he steps forward, like it's already decided, like he's always been meant to find me, I feel it in my bones. This is going to change everything. And it does. I blink, breath catching, chest tight. My hands tremble in my lap. That summer was the beginning of us, of all of it. And now, After all these years, after the lies, the silence, the wreckage, I'm about to see him again. I exhale, shaky and uneven. Mari flicks a glance at me from the driver's seat, just a flicker, just enough to show she notices. But she doesn't ask. She doesn't have to. Whatever's written all over my face, it's answer enough. Mari's SUV slows to a stop in front of tall, wrought iron gates, sleek, black, and undeniably imposing. The kind of gates that whisper privacy, power, money. My stomach tightens. I already knew, thanks to the digging Maggie and I did earlier, that Sebastian had been to prison and that somehow he'd done well for himself after getting out. But this is something else entirely. Mari rolls down her window, taps a code into the keypad. The gates hum softly and begin to move, gliding open like they've been expecting us, like they know exactly who I am. My fingers curl into the fabric of my dress as we ease forward. The driveway stretches long and flawless, lined with towering trees and hedges so precisely trimmed it's like someone used a ruler on every leaf. The headlights cast pale beams over smooth stone paths, while soft lanterns spill gold light into the darkness, throwing elegant shadows across the lawn. And at the end of it all, the house. No, not a house. An estate. It rises from the earth like it grew here, sleek, modern, almost unreal, all sharp angles and glass, with concrete walls that catch the moonlight like steel. Floor-to-ceiling windows gleam like a fortress, cold, impressive, untouchable. A wide stone staircase climbs to a set of massive double doors, so tall they could swallow a person whole. I stare, my breath catches. The Sebastian I knew lived in a cramped third-floor walk-up with his parents, a building where the radiator clanked all winter long, and the smell of sofrito drifted through every hallway. The Sebastian I fell in love with had fire in his chest and nothing in his pockets. He was hungry, relentless, willing to fight for a future no one believed in but him, and now? Now I'm sitting in an SUV at the base of a literal empire, and I don't know who I'm about to find behind those doors. And that thought, it makes me nervous. Mari pulls the SUV to a stop in the circular driveway, shifts into park. She glances at me, but doesn't say a word, just waits, giving me space to process. I let out a slow breath and reach for the door handle, gripping it like it might anchor me. Big place, I mutter, mostly to myself. Mari's mouth twitches, just a hint of amusement.
Yeah, way too big for one person.
I swallow, throat dry. Does he live here alone? She nods.
Mostly. Staff comes and goes, but yeah, it's just him.
I don't know why that tightens something in my chest. I reach for my purse, but my hands are shaking, barely controlled. Mary notices. Of course she does.
If you're having second thoughts, we can turn around.
I hesitate. My heart pounds in my ears like a warning drum. Every instinct tells me to be careful, to turn back, reinforce the walls I've spent years building. But under the fear, beneath the ache and all the unfinished questions, there it is again. That same pull, the same impossible gravity I felt that night by the grill, the thing that made me fall the first time. So instead of running, I breathe in deep, square my shoulders, and open the door. I'm here, I say as I step out onto the stone driveway. Might as well see this through. Mari nods once. No words, but the look she gives me, it's knowing, like she already sees it, that no matter what happens next, I'm not walking out of here the same. The air is thick with silence as I step out of the SUV. The click of my heels against the stone driveway echoes, sharp, hollow, the only sound between us. I smooth my hands over my dress like it'll steady me. Like I can smooth over the past the same way, but it's pointless. My pulse is roaring in my ears, my fingers won't stop trembling, and there's a pressure in my chest, tight and unrelenting, like the weight of everything I haven't said is pressing against my ribs, daring me to fall apart. And then the massive double doors at the top of the steps swing open. Before I even get there, he's already waiting. standing in the doorway like a shadow made solid. The light from inside spills out behind him, gold and warm, but it leaves him half in darkness. Sharp jaw, broad shoulders, those same eyes I used to know, like my own reflection. Only now I can't read them. He doesn't move, doesn't speak, but the way he looks at me, it holds me in place, like I've stepped into the center of something too big to name, something I'm not ready for. But I'm here, and so is he. Mari walks around the car, giving Sebastian a small nod. No words pass between them. But the message is clear. She's here. She's safe. Sebastian nods once in return, just a flick of acknowledgement. Cool, dismissive, like that's all he needs from her now. Mari turns back to me, hesitates. It's barely a moment, just long enough to be a lifeline, one last out. But I don't move. I lift my chin, square my shoulders, and take a step forward, just one. But it's everything. Mari exhales, soft, almost like relief, then turns on her heel and walks away. I hear the rumble of the engine, the crunch of gravel beneath the tires, and then she's gone, and it's just us. Just me and Sebastian. His eyes sweep over me, slow, unapologetic. He doesn't bother to hide it. Doesn't pretend he isn't taking me in, piece by piece. The way the silk clings to my body. The way the gold chain at my neck catches the light. The way I stand like I'm composed, even though inside I'm breaking apart, molecule by molecule. But I don't let it show. I can't. And from the way his fingers curl tighter around the doorframe, I know he feels it too. This thing, still alive, still dangerous, still pulling us back in like gravity with a grudge. I stop at the base of the steps, heart hammering. I just need a second, just one, to gather myself before I have to face him head on. But Sebastian, he doesn't wait.
You look good, see?
The sound of it, his voice, my name on his lips, it rips right through me, instant, electric. I hate that it still hits me like that. I lift my gaze, force my spine straight, and reply, ditto. His mouth twitches, almost a smirk, but not quite. He reins it in, then steps back, gesturing toward the open doorway.
You gonna stand out there all night?
I hesitate, not because I don't want to go in, because I do, too much. And Sebastian, he sees it. Of course he sees it. He always could, always knew how to read me, how to see through the cracks no one else even noticed. He could get under my skin with a look, a word, a breath. So I do the only thing I can. I walk inside. I take a slow breath, anchoring myself. He's just a man, that's all. The door shuts behind me with a soft click, final, deliberate. Louder than it should be. When I turn back, he's closer. Not enough to touch, not enough to breach my space, but enough to dare me to flinch, to break first. I narrow my eyes. So this is what happens when a guy fakes his death? He comes back rich as hell with a house too big for one person? His head tilts slightly, that flicker in his eyes, dark, unreadable.
You think this makes me rich?
I scoff. You think this makes you humble? A muscle ticks in his jaw. Good, I remember that look. It used to mean I was getting too close to the truth. I step forward now, stealing back the momentum, refusing to be the one haunted. So tell me, Sebastian, how many rooms does one man need? His gaze doesn't waver. He just exhales, slow and low.
Depends on how much he wants to forget.
The words land hard. They settle between us like dust over old bones, and I feel it. All the fire, all the ache, all the silence between what we said and what we meant. Because that was the truth. He buried himself in this house. He built walls so high, so thick, so that no one can get through. I inhale deeply, trying to center myself, trying to find something, anything to hold on to. I need to remember why I'm here, why I didn't walk away. I lift my chin, the familiar weight of pride pulling my posture straight. You said you had answers.
I do.
Sebastian watches me, his gaze still unreadable. I can't tell what he's thinking, can't read any of it. But then he nods, slow, deliberate. And with that, he turns. The air shifts. The space between us changes. He leads me deeper into the house, deeper into this unknown. Sebastian leads me through the house, his footsteps slow and measured, deliberate. It's as if he's giving me space, time to adjust, to absorb the enormity of what he's built for himself. The man who once walked me home through noisy city streets, who stole kisses under flickering street lamps, who promised me the world with empty pockets and bright eyes, that man is a ghost. And the man standing before me now, I'm not sure I even recognize him. I follow him down a long, open hallway, the warm glow of dim sconces casting shifting shadows against stone walls and dark wood floors. The house feels too quiet, too vast, too empty, a beautiful prison designed to keep people out. We finally step into the dining room. A sleek black table is set for two, a bottle of wine, 2 glasses, waiting. The scent of something rich and savory lingers in the air. Sebastian turns to face me, his eyes steady, unreadable. The silence between us is thick.
By the end of tonight, you'll know everything.
My breath catches. I should feel something, relief, a sense of victory after years of unanswered questions. But all I feel is a slow, creeping dread.
But first, I figured dinner would help, something to calm the nerves.
He continues, stepping toward the table, reaching for the bottle of wine. I let out a sharp, humorless laugh. Whose nerves, yours or mine? Sebastian's lips tug at the corner of his mouth, just barely, a ghost of a smirk. My eyes flicker to the 2 empty plates, the candlelight reflecting off the glasses of wine. It's too intimate, too much like a date. But I came here for the truth. And whatever this is, this carefully arranged setting, is part of it. Before I can move, Sebastian steps forward. He pulls out a chair for me. The action is smooth, almost practiced. A quiet command, not just an invitation. His fingers brush against the back of the chair as he waits, his gaze never leaving mine. All right, Narvaez, let's eat. Sebastian pours the wine, his movements slow, deliberate. He's always been like that. The kind of man who never rushes, never acts without purpose. It used to make me feel safe. Now it makes me feel like I'm stepping into something carefully constructed, something with no clear way out. He sits across from me, the candlelight throwing shadows across his face, making him even more unreadable than usual. For a few minutes, the only sound is the soft clink of silverware against fine china, the occasional sip of wine. It's strange eating with him after all these years. Strange how easily I can recall the way we used to be, splitting cheap takeout on his tiny mattress, sneaking into late-night diners with stolen glances and tangled hands beneath the table. And now? Now he's here, across from me, in a house that's more estate than home, with a bottle of wine that probably cost more than a week's worth of groceries. I break the silence, needing to hear his voice again. How long have you lived here? Sebastian looks up from his plate.
5 years?
I nod, tracing the stem of my wine glass with my fingers. You always wanted something like this?
Not really, but the house chose me. We're both tall, dark, and handsome.
He smirks. I can't help but smirk too. For a moment, it feels like the old days. But I still need to understand him better. This new version of him. I ask, what brought you all the way out here? Sebastian exhales, setting his fork down. His fingers press against the table's polished surface, as if grounding himself.
Because after everything, I needed somewhere no one could reach me.
I nod with quiet understanding, because I know what it's like to want to disappear from the past. The words stay unspoken, and silence fills the space. I lick my lips, taking a slow sip of wine, feeling the weight of his gaze follow the movement. The silence and the way he's looking at me puts me on edge, and before I can stop myself, I blurt out the first thing that comes to mind. Do you Wine and dine all the women you invite over? Sebastian leans back slightly, his eyes dark, heavy with something unreadable.
No, you're the exception.
My pulse kicks up at that, but I ignore it. Instead, I place my glass down, tapping my fingers against the stem. All right, Sebastian, I say, lifting my chin. You said I'd know everything tonight. His jaw tightens.
I did.
I lean forward just slightly, challenging, daring. Then start talking. Sebastian holds my gaze for a long moment, his expression shifting, something flickering behind his eyes. Shadowed, conflicted. Then he exhales, reaching for his own glass. He takes a slow sip, sets it back down.
Let's move somewhere more comfortable, and I'll tell you everything.
Sebastian rises from the table, the soft scrape of his chair against the polished wood slicing through the heavy silence between us. I watch him as he reaches for the bottle of wine, his movements calm, practiced, but I'm not fooled. The tension in his shoulders, the slight clench of his jaw. He's nervous. Good. So am I. I sit rigid in my chair as he fills my glass, the deep red liquid catching the glow of the candlelight, swirling like something dangerous, like something that could tip the night one way or another. Sebastian sets the bottle down and meets my eyes.
Come outside with me.
It isn't a request, it isn't a demand, it's something in between, a plea wrapped in control. I hesitate, my fingers twitching toward my glass before pulling back. Outside, away from the structured intimacy of the dining table, away from the civilized clink of silverware and unspoken landmines. Maybe it's better, maybe it's worse. Either way, I don't back down. Sebastian, watching me carefully, reaches for both our glasses, his fingers brushing the delicate stem of mine before lifting them effortlessly.
Come on, let's go.
I straighten, tilting my chin just slightly, and follow him.
That's it for this week's episode of Echoes of Us, but the story is far from over. New episodes drop every Thursday starting March 20th, so be sure to follow, subscribe, and never miss a moment. Thank you for listening and being part of the story. Your support means everything. If you enjoyed the episode, consider leaving a review or sharing it with a friend. It helps more listeners find us. Until next time, listen closely, because sometimes the past isn't as far away as it seems.